What is up, guys? CJ here, and it is currently Sunday night. Didn't know I was going to be doing a backtest review till I checked the DOGE chart. We are already in replay mode here, and we're going to be breaking down a trade here on DOGE that took place, looks like last Monday. So literally almost a week ago. And we're gonna take a look at it, see if it was a winner, see what was going on. So the trade in question is this trade right here. On DOGE, we are looking for a long in the premium section of the bigger range, but as you know, we can get TCT that creates TCT, as we have some beautiful third tap POIs here for a more macro distribution idea here on DOGE. So super valid to be looking for accumulation models here, especially as we're coming into demand. So if we want to build context around this trade, that is kind of what's going on. I wouldn't say we're in the craziest demand ever, but you know, it's pretty good demand. We got this kind of internal structure demand, and it's just kind of the spot that we would need to bounce if we are intended to come up and put in a proper third tap. Otherwise, we just have liquidity below. So it's extremely valid to be looking for a long in this area. Now, you might be saying maybe this is your range right here. In either case, it doesn't affect anything really. It's just an uglier range. I prefer to look at this range and would like to be de-risked by this point. Although you could have a runner all the way up, sweeping this buy side liquidity, whatever's up in here. If that is your plan, you know, TCT creating TCT. Starting off, it's a mid time frame range here. 7 days, 20 hours, almost 8 days. So this range has been building up, you know, intentions have definitely been building behind this range from a market maker's point of view, I guess. But getting into it, our first tap kind of comes into that first layer, and then just the whole structure demand area, we get our deviation 1. I think it was a case where you're kind of looking for a model 2. And this is an interesting case, you know, I'm excited to kind of break this one down because, you know, this is a huge reason why we're doing this backtesting series, is to see a lot of different models. You know, a lot of us probably haven't been trading the system for, you know, as long as, you know, our mentors within this system, and they've seen a lot of trades, they've seen a lot of different things going on. And, you know, sometimes you just got to see it for yourself. You got to see models work, and you got to build that data set in your mind so that you can just execute in the live market just that much better. You know, execute with a probability mindset. You know, you take this trade, you don't know if it's going to play out 100% for sure. That's always the risk of trading. So, you know, taking all these trades with a probability mindset, you know, an abundance mindset, just with the will to win. So what we see here is I've already refined down our extreme demand here. It was an interesting one. Let's take a look. Mitigated here. It doesn't actually matter too much in this situation because I'll kind of show you what we were up to, but it's something like a 5-minute order block here. There we go. Okay, here's our extreme demand, but we come into it very aggressively. You know, I would not be looking to trade this, and I think I remember seeing it during the week, but I was like, you know, too fast into the POI, untradeable. But that was a mistake on my part, and I'm going to show you why. There was 100% a very nice entry on this trade, but it's something I overlooked, and it's only in reflecting and reviewing that I saw the actual trade. So what happens is we come into our extreme demand. It's not the best. We're coming in fast, and it's not, I wouldn't say like the best POI, but what we are seeing is massive buyers stepping in. I don't know what the volume. Yeah, look at this volume spike that we're getting. after we hit our extreme demand. You know, very aggressive break structure. And, you know, technically it would be valid to enter right there. You know, it's not a trade I don't think I would take, but I think, you know, after seeing that volume spike, after seeing buyers step in, you know, I think it's valid to take this trade. It's a 3-hour R. It's not bad. It looks pretty good. You know, anything over 2. But for a bit of a higher time frame range, it's not high time frame, but, you know, is there a better entry? Because obviously we're coming in steep. You know, we have supply here on some sort of area. Like our return to zone is nice from here, you know. But definitely like some room of error there. What I really am honing in on here is, so we get this aggressive break. We're like, okay, like model's confirmed right here even, or anywhere in here. So let's take this opportunity to watch our level 2 market structure, because look at how we're pulling back here, leaving a beautiful return to zone on the pullback. So this is where the trade gets very interesting, because we have this obvious structure demand right here, and we pull back into it super nice. So we literally, although we don't have a return to zone coming into our third tap POI, we create it after the fact, and price gives us a super clean break of structure on the level 2. You know, if just following our structure like this, gonna draw it just for the reps, you know, then super tight at the end, perfect break, bang. So that's what price was giving us on the pullback. Enter, let's say this close. Now, I wouldn't feel too comfortable putting my stop loss here. We have some more demand below, and I think on the higher time frame there's more demand in this area, although it kind of looks like liquidity when we're on the ones here. So stop below this low, third tap as the invalidation, but using the level 2 market structure to confirm our entry. Where's the close? Let's use this second candle even right there. You know, confirming the breaker structure and running that for a 4.6. So now we've entered the trade. There's nothing left to do but just stick to the plan and let it play out, and let's see what price is giving us. So we've entered the trade. We've taken the level 2 market structure break on an already confirmed Model 2 that just had more of an aggressive push down, but buyers immediately stepping in with that volume spike. So we are in the trade. Let's see how it plays out. So we get that retest and then kind of off to the races here. I don't like to play it super fast. I want us to think a little bit about like what we'd be thinking in this trade. So we don't sweep opposite EL, so we can't de-risk. We also have demand below us, so we also can't de-risk. What's our thought process when price is pulling all the way back like that? You know, are we closing early? What are we doing? You know, what we should be doing is just sticking to the plan, you know. This is part of the reason I like to do this, you know, just to kind of see how the trades play out, like what our psychology would be like if we were in the trade, so that when we are taking live trades, you know, we just that much easier to stick to the plan, even though we should never be questioning it in the first place. But, and boom, and there's hitting technical target and realizing 4.6 RR, you know. Take this with $1,000 risk and you make 4,600 in 5.5 days. So there you have it. There's our back test on DOGE from September 2nd, looks like. So, all right, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and let's have a great week.